And hello to all my fantastic people out there. Hello to all of you fantastic writers. I have here some peanut butter, not because I'm enjoying it, but because we left off and we were talking about protein and trying to get the protein in. So I just had to double check my facts real quick. 2 tablespoons of peanut butter is roughly 7 grams of protein. Okay, fact checking. This is important. This is research. That's what this is. This is fact checking for your book, your novel. You got to make sure that everything is correct. Otherwise, people are going to look at you and be like, "Wow, you're not very smart, are you?" It's important. It's an important part of any writing process. What is wrong with my chair right now? Hang on. There we go. That's better. I think that's better. Okay, let's get to work, shall we? I'm going to bring the chair up a little bit farther. There we go. There we go. Now we're really ready. Turn the light on so we can see our papers. Our note papers. Okay. Just shy of 2 tablespoons. Means it's around 7 grams of protein. Whereas the squeezed peanut butter, you get 1.1 ounces of peanut butter for 80 cents. 1.1 ounces, just shy of 2 tablespoons. Meaning it's around 7 grams of protein per squeeze peanut butter. Bum, bum, bum. Per squeeze peanut butter. Okay. 2. Clearly, the best bang for your buck to get the protein needed for my muscle growth. So Mafia began. You're gonna wolf down 2 or 3 of these a day before or after your isotonic exercises. Isotonic exercises. Pretty much. Best way to bulk up like I want. Peanut butter needs high strain, low rep. Peanut butter meets high strain, low rep. You don't do anything small, do you, Trevor? He said without a question mark as he rolled over to go back to sleep. I gave a shrug before moving into sleep myself. I gave a shrug. I guess I didn't feel the need to half-ass my time in max. Especially when it came to getting strong. Why let no weights or protein shakes get in my way of getting strong? Why let my way of writing why let no computer or typewriter stand in my way of writing? Time in Max doesn't have to be wasted time. Being locked up is what you make of it. Dun 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 dun. In case you guys haven't noticed yet, I'm a little bit of a Trekkie. Okay, let's go. Chapter 12. We are moving right along. Chapter 12, boyo. Prisoner freedom. Prisoner freedom. You'll get popped in the face once or twice to loosen you up, make you more cooperative. Leprechaun said as he explained how several prison inmates might fall in love with a good-looking new inmate. Or you get one good knockout hit in the back of the head when you aren't expecting it. Wake up with some guys member up your ass. You'll get an erection, but don't worry. It's just a natural physical reaction to something moving in and out of your sphincter. It doesn't mean you're gay. Doesn't mean you're gay, guys. Everyone laughs and then tell a few stories to confirm that yes, it is a natural physical reaction. I know they're all joking. Rape in prison doesn't really happen. Now that there are so many open homosexuals with condoms ready to go. If rape does take place, it's about the power and control. Hi. It's about sending a message. We've only had a few rape claims. Excuse me. We only had a few rape claims in county. One was against a tranny, and we were all pretty sure it happened. The second rape allegation they took seriously. Was a guy who claimed his cellie took his ass. They searched and found semen. However, the allegations only came after he was caught stealing his commissary. Due to size and the fact everyone assumed the cellie enjoyed each other, called them fags, and witnessed them pounding away in their cell one day, we were pretty sure everything was consensual. In this day and age, he should have gotten a signed romantic contract. Although, under PREA laws, no inmate may have sexual relations, consensual or otherwise, with another inmate. Not something I'd ever have to worry about. Porn in my hand was more than enough for me. The topic of what prison was like have been coming up a lot lately because everyone was taking deals. Jackson Selly, Gay J, Fat Ass, B, Killer, Andy, even Panda all took deals. Panda, Leprechaun, Gaucho, even Leprechaun would all end up taking deals. Let's have and Gaucho be the last one, because that was the what? Gaucho took a deal? Panda, Leprechaun, even Gaucho would all end up taking deals. Every one of them. Just me. I'm the only one who went to trial. You can't blame them for taking deals, though. The way the American justice system is set up, depending on how difficult your case will be to prosecute, you'll be offered a deal to plead guilty. This saves the prosecutor's office and the court's money and guarantee a guilty verdict. In their mind, it guarantees the justice is served. Why trust the jury of normal, everyday civilians and normal, everyday civilians are smart enough to make the right verdict? We can trade a few years of prison time for a happy ending. As a man trying to prove his innocence, a deal can be quite tempting. Regardless of guilt. even with a solid defense, there's no guarantee that the jury won't go off script and do their own thing. There's no telling what might happen when those doors close and jury deliberation starts. Most of the guys in Max are looking at 15 to 30 years if found guilty. Several are facing life. You take a guy facing 15, then offer him 3.5 if he pleads out. That's tempting for any, especially when you consider that if their plea agreement lower the crime for enough, he'll receive a third off for good time. Even if you think you have an 80 or 90% chance of being found not guilty, is it worth gambling with such a large chunk of your life on the line? That's the question everyone in Max faces. Clearly, most take the deal. In my year and a half in Max, the only person to take their case to the box was LeBron. He was offered a deal for 5 years. He is now serving 15. We all thought he had a good chance of winning. The other reason most of the Max Pod was taking deals was because of COVID. Due to the inability to have trials safely, most everyone in Max had already been awaiting trial for over a year. Even once the courts opened back up. In March of 2021, we were told they'd only be able to hold one county Supreme Court case at a time, meaning most guys would have to wait another 6 months to a year for trial. You tell someone they have to wait another 6 months in Max for trial, or they can take a deal and just go home after 6 months. Most guys take the deal. And you get to go do your time in prison after you take your deal. No more stuck in a cell for 22 hours a day. You can get a TV in your cell, a radio, a tablet to play games on. You can get a job, a hobby, take carpentry. You can play Ping pong. Ping pong. Basketball. Kickball. You can wear a real pair of shoes and aren't stuck in the same orange uniform all day. You can walk around outside, feel the grass, and bask in the sun shining on your face. After 18 months in close custody, prison sounds great. After so long in Max, some guys were taking deals to stay sane. When you consider everything alongside the instant relief a man feels in knowing the foreseeable future of his life, you can't blame guys for making the choices they did. The same choice I had to make it. I was offered a deal in November of 2020 after being detained since December of 2019, that if I accepted, would have sent me home. Home to freedom. Within a week or two. Only problem I had with the deal was I was innocent. How could I plead guilty, be labeled a felon for the rest of my life? How could I explain to my friends, the business community, my family, that I didn't do it even though I plead guilty? How could I look my daughter in the eye again? Only problem with the deal, hang on, let's close that out. Being on supervision, being on excuse me. Losing my right. Just a vote. Yep. Okay, we're going to leave it like that. Good job, us. At the same time, my entire life was on the line. I was gambling with close to 15 years of my life. My ability to play with my daughter, go to work, raise a family. I thought I had a good defense. but a lot was at stake. What pushed me to decide to fight was the injustice I felt. I wanted to fight the system I felt was persecuting me unfairly. In my opinion, my county's prosecutor's office, and the majority of judges have a better safe than sorry mentality. Meaning they'd rather try someone who may have committed the crime than have a possibly dangerous individual walking the streets. This, of course, is not in line with our nation's long-standing motto, innocent until proven guilty. In my opinion, the prosecutors and judges themselves should have to think the evidence shows a significant likelihood that the accused is guilty before bringing charges forward. The charges should certainly be dropped before trial begins. Alas, that isn't how our justice system works. Our justice system, there's a better word for that. Our justice system facilitates justice in practice. Nope, it is not. Not even close. In practice, they prosecute everyone they believe they might be able to convict. With plenty of funding, most people taking deals, and thanks to COVID, a near limitless time someone can await trial, there's no reason for them not to prosecute everyone they're able. You also have little to no consequences for a prosecutor who loses. If they lose, they can shrug it off. Say the only reason the defendant won was because they lied, and move on to prosecute the next one. Understand, I'm not saying most defendants should go free. In fact, the majority of people incarcerated are guilty as sin. However, there are those like myself who, in my mind, should have never been prosecuted, who do not have enough evidence against them to charge them with a crime, and because they choose to fight for their freedom, they are punished with longer time in jail, additional charges, and bigger consequences if found guilty. But I was ready to show the community that I wouldn't take this laying down. I wanted to humiliate and make the prosecutor look like the fool she was. And I wanted to make the system rethink the next time they were on the fence about prosecuting a case like mine. I wanted press releases and interviews about my victory. I wanted a trial. One way or another, I was going to finally get out of Max. One way or another. I was first prepared for trial date thanks to COVID and our state and local government suspending all jury trials, pushing my date to then, and lastly, I was so excited to find out that jury trials were finally taking place. My trial date was then the state moved trial again because their detective was out of the state for training. The next date was then we couldn't find a witness. Was the new date. Finally, everything was ready. No more excuses. No more excuses to push my trial date back. The day before trial confirmation, I was so excited to meet with my lawyer. In that meeting, he informed me that our private investigator was in a terrible accident and couldn't stand trial. Trial was therefore moved for the last time to May 17th. Every time trial was pushed back was another round on the emotional roller coaster. As trial approached, a wave of excitement and nervous stress would crash down on me. A defendant looks forward to his legal troubles being concluded. But the possible life-ruining consequences is enough to drive anyone crazy. The week before trial confirmation is full of second guesses. Sleepless, worry-filled nights, and a lot of prayer. Once my court date was moved, a mixture of confirmed relief and not having to face the stressful horrors of trial met the anger of being stuck in close custody with the uncertainty of my future hanging over my head. Trial finally being confirmed for May 17th was a blessing and a curse. Nothing could have prepared me for the stresses of trial. Confirmed. For the stresses of trial. And there we have it. There we have it, folks. Do 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 do. Okay, that's right there. This is there. That's there. Whew. I need some pads. You guys can't see it, but like my wrists being on this hard desk is not the best thing in the world. It's not the worst thing in the world, but it's also not the best thing in the world. It could be worse, but it could be better. Whoa, said Mafia. You don't look homeless meets hipster anymore. After 18 months of growth, the jail finally brought someone in to shave some heads. Not being allowed to ask for a fade, I got a 4 on top and a 2 on the sides. The amount of hair that came off my head could have filled a pillow. Finally, I didn't have to put my unruly black curly hair into a girly ponytail to look clean. After a year of shaggy, terrible hair, I finally didn't look like a dumpster diving homeless degenerate who asked to bum your last cigarette. I finally felt human again. No more gay ponytail anymore, I exclaimed while admiring myself in the mirror. Now I'm sure to win that trial. Mafia sat up on his bunk. Because of a haircut? I responded without breaking eye contact with the mirror. Of course. Look at me. There are going to be women on that jury. Women with needs. They're going to take a look. They're going to take one look at me in my sexy black on black slim cut suit with my clean dark hair and go, that's a boy. That boy is looking fine. That boy's looking fine. He couldn't have done it. He couldn't have done it. They're going to see my Greek god, chiseled chin. Their panties are going to get wet. And I'm going to get a not guilty verdict, along with a few phone numbers. You're so retarded. When you live in a box with the same person for nine months, you get to the point where it's okay to make fun of each other. You're rude, but not in a rude way. Huh. I said, turning to look at him. Everything I've read says if the jury wants to fuck you, they'll set you free so they can. Those legal drama romance novels you keep reading are not preparing you for trial. That's what you think. That's what you think. Thanks to those novels, I'll be sure to hold it together when the surprise bombshell witness barges into the courtroom. I'm not going to have any big emotional outbursts that make me look bad. And take a look at this wink I've been perfecting. This twitch of the eye is going to make the ladies swoon. Gonna make the ladies swoon. Like the good Lord says, the wink will set me free. Again. Retarded. I was half joking with him, of course. I wasn't going to actually wink at the jury, and I knew that there was a lot of unrealistic drama thrown into those courtroom books. Still, I had my special spicy deodorant, conditioner, and hair gel waiting for trial to arrive. No matter what anyone says, a man who looks and smells sexy as hell is going to be found innocent more often than the scary, druggy hobo. My plan for court was to look better than ever. My plan for court, look good. Look good and trust in the Lord. Along with reading a lot of courthouse novels, my trial prep consisted of practicing being on the stand with mafia. I was fortunate to have the greatest cellie ever. He sat listening to me give my testimony for hours and giving me plenty of feedback. Cross-examination practice was difficult for me. You're told to avoid pitfalls. You should only answer the questions asked. You should only use as few words as possible and answer a simple yes or no whenever able. Any answer that need revisiting or additional explanation should be expanded on with your own friendly attorney after the enemy is done with their examination. With their examination of you. Using few words and not adding additional explanations was counterintuitive to my nature. The part I was good at was keeping a calm, clear head and taking my time. After all, there's no reason to rush, except to feel the final relief of the whole dreadful ordeal being over with. All this prep was someone close, who I could trust was invaluable. But nothing could have fully prepared me for the harsh realities of standing trial. Dun dun dun! Right about trial as it's happening. I once knew a man from Nantucket who had a dick so long he could suck it. All day he would lay, with his dick he would play, and their girls would line up to fuck it. That's a limerick that my old cellmate wrote. Let's use it, shall we? Bum bum bum. I once knew a man from Nantucket who had a dick so long he could suck it. All day he would lay with his dick. With his dick he would play, and the girls would line up to fuck it. Dun 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 dun. Okay, we are now into the notes section. This is a big deal, guys. We finished the majority of the big parts that have already been written out. Do 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 do. But the worst thing they've done is institute group punishment. Oh, yep. These are the changes that we should probably talk about. Crafting jail items. Trial ends. Trial thoughts. My time testimony has changed. Good deal. Oh man. Reality's invaluable. Reason to rush. After all, intuitive explanations. Explanation. This is a big deal. Okay, we are at 65,263 words. When we are done editing and we add, because we have to add probably close to another 2,000 to 3,000 words. But we're also going to do some editing, which is going to take out some sentences. I would expect us to finish this book around 66,000 words. So that's what That's what I'm thinking at the moment. And we are going to go and edit back up to chapter 5. I believe is the one that needs revising at the moment. But I need to use the restroom and do a couple things, so I will be right back. Enjoy the waiting music, guys. And hello again to all of the wonderful people. Make sure that you check out Patreon. You can, for only $5, check out tragedy and comedy short stories. All kinds of stuff that have been written. Please enjoy at your own leisure. And now, we are ready to continue our work. We are going to be editing one of my favorite chapters. Bad Selly. So, here we go. A crazy, stupid, mean, or fat Selly can make your time incarcerated a nightmare. Fat Sellies are on the list because they stink up the cell and are often slobs. I can't stand living with a messy or dirty human being. Here, let's just turn that up. Bring this in a little closer. There we go. I think that looks pretty good. What do you guys think? Nice light on this side, normal light up here. Kind of a fun shadow effect, huh? Ha ha ha. Yeah, if somebody's better at this than me and wants to give some... Oh, what's the word? Some advice. Have at it. Feel free. So, a crazy, stupid, mean, or fat Selly can make your time incarcerated a nightmare. Fat Sellies are on the list because they stink up the cell and are often slobs. I can't stand living with a messy or dirty human being. When you're cellmates with someone in Max, there's no escaping them for 21 hours a day. On the flip side, a good Selly always allows for good conversation, playing games, and making time go by faster. And helps time go by faster. Another person can also give you a feeling of camaraderie and let you know that you're not alone. Dr. Nielsen was an amazing cellmate. He was intellectually stimulating, conversation flowed, and we talked for hours about everything. Our home life, work, religion, politics, it was all fair game. We challenged each other at chess, even though I typically won, and taught each other card games. He was also a great detainee because he bought commissary and was kind enough to split a bag of chips or the last section of a Kit Kat bar with me. He was also a great detainee because he bought commissary and was kind enough to split a bag of chips or the last section of a Kit Kat bar. I was grateful for any reprieve from the unsweetened food we consumed every day. But, like all good things, wonderful cellmates don't last. Nielsen was bailed out after 3 weeks of trying to find the tens of thousands of dollars for the bail bondsman. We fist bumped as he left. I wanted a hug. A week passed before I was given a new cellmate. My first thought when I met Buster was how badly the man needed a shower. He reeked of BO. "Hi, my name's Trevor," I said, extending my hand. He gave me a limp shake. "I'm Buster. I have severe autism and Asperger's. I can read at a 3rd grade level." What the fuck was he doing in my house? As if I'd asked him to tell me his life story, he told me his life story. Much of it revolved around his cat. I was adopted by my moms. People make fun of me for that. That's why I have brass knuckles to threaten them with. I like weapons. I've had a few jobs, but I got fired because I forgot to go. Haha. But I get disability, so it's okay. I have a girlfriend I like a lot. We live together in my basement. I hope she remembers to take more care of my cat. I love my cat more than anything. I love my cat more than anything. More than anything. That... I'm a dog person. Anyone who says that they love their cat more than anything, I just immediately go, huh, that's interesting. Not what I would choose. He enjoyed talking about himself. So did I, but I discussed myself in a more conversational manner. He continued on, I have letters from my girlfriend. From her, my girlfriend, not my cat. She thinks I deserve to be in here because sometimes I get angry and like brass knuckles. A dangerous combination. Want to see? Everything he said was loud. I tried my best to reply, You know, Buster, I'm not... Whoosh. The letters were in my lap. Soon I understood that his girlfriend was also differently abled, and that she was jealous of all the attention Buster gave his feline companion. I began to wonder how violent things got between the two oddly abled, and wished I could observe them in their natural habitat. Beauty school dropout, do-do-do. As we go now, to and fro, beauty school dropout. Here we go. It took a while to shut him up. I tried playing a few games with him. Most card games were too complicated, and I didn't want to play Go Fish. Chess was out of the question, and he wouldn't play checkers because we didn't have real checkers pieces. Having real pieces was extremely important to him. Extremely important. We ended up sitting on our bunks reading, at least I read. Trevor? Yes, Buster? What does sympathy mean? The dictionary is on the desk. Well, I don't really like using the dictionary because it takes so long. Okay, that's stupid. I wished his voice wasn't so monotone. Trevor? What? Can you tell me what it means? No, my irritation was rising. Why can't you? Because I don't want to, Buster. I'm reading my book. You have a dictionary you can use. You have a dictionary you can use. He had a dictionary he could use. There was no reason to be bothering me. But I don't like using the dictionary because it takes so long. Tough. His voice inflection never changed. After about 30 seconds of silence, he asked, Can't you tell me what it means? Buster, I'm reading. And you're not good at multitasking? My head flooded with possible answers. I decided to go with the one that had the best chance of ending the conversation. No. Oh. I sat back enjoying the silence. Was that it? It was over? I enjoyed my book in silence with a smile on my face. Bam. I bolted up and looked at the door. Buster had thrown his book against it. I yelled, What the hell? He looked up at me from his bunk in a calm and innocent manner, like he had no idea why I was shouting. Why'd you throw that? There are too many big words in it. That doesn't mean you have to throw it. I didn't hurt anybody. Clearly, arguing with Buster was a waste of time. I did my best to read. Buster got his letters out and read through those. Trevor? What? Do you think my mom still loves me? How would I know that? I asked what you thought, not what you knew. Okay, yeah, technically. I don't know, probably. That's good. Another 3 minutes of silent reading for Trevor. What? My tone was filled with irritation and a hint of anger. Do you think the prosecutor will give me a good deal? From what you've told me, probably not. That's too bad. 2 minutes later. Trevor? What? Do you think they threw away my weapons? Probably. 4 minutes later. Trevor? What? What? Do you think my girlfriend is taking good care of my cat? You said she doesn't like your cat, so she probably drowned your cat in the bathtub. 5 seconds of silence passed before I added, Your cat's dead. Another 10 seconds passed before Buster replied, Boy, I hope not. That'd make me really sad. Do you ever get sad, Trevor? You know what, Buster? I really just want to read in silence, okay? Oh, his favorite word. I read in wondrous quiet for a solid 10 minutes. A dull, quick thump, thump, thump broke the silence with a steady rhythm. I froze in the wake of the thump, thump, thumping. He's not masturbating. I took a breath and slowly peered over the edge of the bunk. There it was, Buster's right fist thumping 100 miles an hour. He stopped, looked at me, and smiled with a monotone, Hi. Without a word, I went back to reading. Between his thumping and body odor, our time out couldn't come fast enough. Thankful. Thankfully, the thumping had stopped for now. Thankfully, he had enough common sense. He had enough sense not to keep thumping. Make sure you take a shower. Buster nodded dumbly. I will. As the cell door opened, Buster headed to the shower I told him to use. The upstairs shower. As the cell door opened, Buster headed to the shower I told him to use. The upstairs shower. While Jackson came over. You better not fight with your celly. You can tell he's got that retard strength. I rolled my eyes. Emphasis on retard. Well, at least your celly isn't a crybaby. It's like, face the wall in your bunk and silently whimper like a man. Agreed. Have you gone over the suicide options with him? He's too much of a pussy. Don't worry. Someday we'll find someone willing to take the plunge. The plunge was a 4-foot nosedive off the top bunk onto the hard cement slab we called the ground. After much discussion, we were pretty sure that was the most foolproof suicide method available to an inmate. Jackson gave a sigh. I'm just tired of all his complaining. I might be looking to get rid of my celly. There are several ways to get rid of a celly. Getting into a scuffle with them is one, as long as there aren't any marks or the proof of altercation. Then the one complaining gets moved. Another option is to explain the situation to mental health, asking them to please put in a request for a cell change. However, this can be slow and isn't guaranteed to work. A faster option is to get your celly to refuse housing or protective custody out, which will get them sent right to the hole. Accusing a celly of wrongdoing, sexual misconduct, or stealing are fan favorites to get someone kicked out of the house and off to the hole. The problem with all these options is you never know what your new celly is going to be like. Sometimes it's better to accept the evil you know, like a complaining crybaby, than to risk the evil you don't know. You might even end up with a fat celly. Think about that before you risk it. Buster spent the time out showering, calling his mom, and watching TV. No matter what was on, Buster felt the need to add his commentary. Oh man, those idiots. Why don't they just jump into the water? They're so dumb. Those idiots deserve to die, he said while watching Titanic. After the first day, everyone was ready for Buster to leave. As we re-entered my house, I noticed a familiar smell. Buster, I know I saw you take a shower. Yep. But you still smell. I do? He sniffed under his arm. Yes, you do. Why do you still stink, Buster? Well, he started sheepishly, I forgot my soap. So you went and got the soap you'd forgotten? He looked like a child who was caught with a hand in the cookie jar as he slowly responded, No. Okay, that was it. I wasn't here to babysit. I tossed him a deodorant stick and commanded him to put some on. I then went back to reading and did my best to ignore the 5-year-old living in my house. Now, of course, he's not a real 5-year-old. You understand that, right? Okay. As night approached, the thumping returned. I rolled my eyes as I jumped down to people watch others in the pod. Whoa! The blanket between his legs was billowing as I jumped down. He stared at me with wide, unblinking eyes. Hi. Were you masturbating? No, he said slowly with a smile. Knock that shit off. Save it for the fucking shower and don't be a fag in my cell. Got that? His smile was gone. Okay. Super sorry, Trevor. We didn't speak for the rest of the night. I didn't feel bad about shouting at him. Sometimes you had to get a little loud and curse to get your point across. I did feel like the situation wasn't fair to me. Why did I get stuck with a child? Classifications should have put him in the mental pod where people on on a lot of meds, developmentally challenged, insanely loud, or obnoxious belong. Who knew how long I could deal with Buster? How long do you think you could deal with someone who had that level of just mental disability? I mean, when you're living in a cell for 21 hours a day, it's such a confined little space. There's no way to get around them, right? I mean, the place is literally 12 feet by 8 feet. Okay? That's not a lot of room to maneuver. You're constantly in each other's business. Yeah. How long could you last? The answer for me was 3 days. Second day was much like the first, but the third day began the tapping. Tap, tap, tapping. I was standing at the house window watching Deadpool when I heard a tap. I looked over at Buster sitting at the desk, staring at the wall and breathing rhythmically. I watched as his left index finger slowly brought his fingernail up and down on the desk. It wasn't a muffled thud, but a loud singing tap. A loud tap. Becca, come on, you could last, couldn't you? You could. Somebody's tapping, doing a nice little. You could last. I bet you could. Probably longer than me anyway. I bet you could probably do at least, 5 days and not 3 like me. I was standing at the house window watching Deadpool when the tapping. I watched his finger. Already read that part. As the tapping increased, my nerves decreased. Hey, Buster, please stop tapping. He didn't move, respond, or stop tapping. I did my best to ignore the sound and enjoyed Deadpool. I succeeded for 30 seconds. Hey man, please stop. It isn't affecting you. It is affecting me. I'm trying to watch TV. Even I can hear the TV. All this was said without looking my way. He just kept staring. Okay, I said, trying to stay calm and be understanding of Mr. Difficultly Abled. Well, I can't hear it over your tapping. They're saying I can't have this life without you. Let's change that to live. I can't live this life without you. That makes more sense. Buster, that isn't what they're saying. So you can hear. Okay, disabilities be damned. Buster, stop tapping. It's a tick. I can't help it. He's still tapping here. Then tap on your pants leg or your bunk mattress. He's still tapping. It's tick. Tap, 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 tap. I moved closer to him in one quick motion, finally drawing his attention. Stop fucking tapping on that fucking desk, you fucking retard. This was yelled at the top of my lungs with my voice billowing. Billowing? I've used billowing a couple times. With my voice... echoing. With my voice echoing what was usually a loud group of 60 men in a confined, echoing room. No. Let's find a good one. Good synonym for... Let's look up synonyms for loud. Synonyms for loud. Booming. With my voice booming. There we go. Now we're cooking with Crisco. With my voice booming, what was usually a loud group of 60 plus men in a confined, echoing room was turned into complete silence. Everyone was straining to hear what I might do. So I actually wrote this story at one point as a short story form instead of in the book. Short story form, and it's actually on my Patreon if anybody hasn't read it. I think this does the story a little bit more justice though, but I really enjoy it. I've enjoyed Patreon lately, all the short stories and you guys telling me what you think about the stories, especially Butler Benson Belvedere. All the Butler stories, so much fun. Buster sat wide-eyed staring at me. Can you press the intercom button? No, you press the button. He did. I need to talk to mental health. It's an emergency. The gal on the speaker said she'd let them know. I went back to watching Deadpool while Buster packed up all his things and sat quietly on the bunk muttering to himself about going home. If he'd been suicidal or was trying to nonchalantly escape the cell without getting beat up, he'd have been out of luck. It took them close to 6 hours to allow Buster to see mental health. That was the last time I saw Buster. He went away to mental health. Then he went to the hole for refusing housing. A deputy came to get his things and asked if I'd threatened him. I told him no, and that Buster's mental handicap impeded him from getting along with the cellmate. After that quick conversation, I enjoyed several weeks by myself. It was bliss. Leprechaun came to my door. What happened? The entire pod heard you roar. I quickly explained the situation. He was the fifth to come to ask for the details. As word spread, I was quickly getting a reputation as a badass who threw out any cellie who got on my nerves. Leprechaun gave a low whistle, just for tapping on the desk. Well, when you put it like that, it sounds awful. Oh, it's not that bad. B's was bad. He got rid of his cellie by taking his clothes off and swinging his dick around Ferris wheel style. Whoa, did he get in trouble? Nope, just claimed his cellie was lying to him, get him in trouble. The cellmate was moved, and B got to keep his house to himself. Clearly, there are many ways to get a new cellie. However, there's no way of knowing if this next cellie will be better than the last. And you may not want to give classification deputies the idea that you're the problem. This seemed to place problem inmates together. And claiming the cellie was lying or acting up only flew so many times. My next few cellies were short-stay cellies. Guys who got bailed out quick or were only in max for disciplinary reasons and were quickly returned to the dorms. I hated that because of my charge. I'd always be stuck in a small cell, while violent and disruptive inmates went to the dorms repeatedly, only to return a while later. Nothing about jail is fair. I got used to giving short-stay cellies a basic lay of the land. Basic lay of the land. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. My next few cellies were short-stay cellies. Guys who got bailed out quick, or were only in max for disciplinary reasons and were quickly returned to the dorms. I hated that because of my charge. I'd always be stuck in a small cell, while violent and disruptive inmates went to the dorms repeatedly, only return a while later. Nothing about jail is fair. Nothing about jail is fair. I got used to giving short-stay cellies a basic lay of the land. Hi, my name's Trevor. Welcome to my house. These are my things. Don't touch them. Quiet time is midnight to 10 a.m. Plan your sleep accordingly. If you don't eat anything on your tray, I ask for first dibs. The calendar on the desk shows our timeout. Do your best to shit during those times so I'm not trapped with you stinking up this confined space. Try your best to keep the cell clean. Use the garbage bag. Keep the floor clean and lean down close to the sink when spitting toothpaste so it doesn't get all over our stuff or the mirror. Do all these things, don't be a dumbass, and we'll get along great. Do you play cards or chess? Maybe dominoes? Do you play some dominoes? Ha ha ha. I yelled at a few of my cellies, but we all got along for the most part. A large reason for these smooth relationships were the standards, expectations, and them not staying for an extended period of time. Without fail, every cellie had to be taught how to go potty. Eventually, nature calls, and time out be damned. You just can't hold it. You just can't hold it in. The protocol to taking a shit in the cell begins by informing your cellmate. The bomb bay doors are opening. It's time to drop a massive payload. The cellmate then lays on their bunk facing the wall, reading, giving maximum potty privacy. Maximum potty privacy. Potty privacy. Potty privacy is very important. A sign announcing the deuce being taken is then hung in the window for added privacy from those walking by. The strolling bystanders appreciate it too. The cell is a small confined space, so the rule is flush as you go, and continue flushing until ready to remove posterior from the porcelain toilet. No bowel movement should be heard over the sound of flushing. Unfortunately, this is easier said than done. To accomplish continuous flushing, the shitter must press a metal button directly behind the toilet user's back, requiring weight distribution focused on the right ass cheek and right arm twisting 180 degrees with torso assistance. I suggest an attempt in the restroom technique to fully appreciate the shitty position it is. The thing I had to get used to was just how cold my ass got. On an all-metal toilet with freezing water swirling around in it makes... An all-metal toilet with freezing water swirling around in it makes for a chilling experience. Yeah, that's a good sentence. Constant flushing should take care of the smell, but at times it's nice to hang an air freshener or rub deodorant on the vent. The shitty ritual is concluded by washing hands and yelling to the cellie, "The time of darkness has passed! Bask in the light." I watched from a safe distance as Deputy McGruff banged on B's door. "Take that sign down." I could hear the indignation in B's voice as McGruff looked straight over the sign at him, bare ass on the toilet. "Hey man, I'm taking a shit." "I don't care. This is jail. There's no privacy in jail. Take it down." B removed the shit warning sign. Not sure why it mattered when the COs can just glance over it. Not sure. B removed the shit warning sign. I'm not sure why having a sign up matters when the COs can just glance over it. Well, B learned that some deputies are assholes who will stare at your junk while you're mid-defecation. This is why most inmates plan their shit and love making sessions around the CO's walkthrough times. Right after a walkthrough time is also the safest time to pass contraband, use drugs, or get into a fight. Altman, you're getting a cellie. They never warn you or give you any time to prepare for an added person in your small living space. If I'd known, I'd have gone in one more pleasure session. As I turned, I saw the man carrying a blanket and mattress towards my cell. His name was Max, a semi-clean-cut, sandy-haired guy. He looked alright. As we made introductions, I found out he was a recreational drug user with a temper. So he was just like half the guys who came through close custody. The other half were hardcore addicts who rip off someone's ear with their teeth just for a hit. That's a true story, by the way. Guy needed a hit of Brown so bad, and somebody else said, "Okay, bring me that guy's ear, and you can have your hit." And he did. That's what he went and did. As Max and I got to know each other, Rummy was our game. He got frustrated and quit any hard game I tried to teach him. Dominoes was a stretch, and chess was too difficult. He liked poker, but I hated trying to play poker with only two people. It was all boring luck. But Rummy, we both enjoyed a good game of Rummy. We'd play all day long with games going to 10,000 points. For those of you who don't play Rummy, 10,000 is a lot of points. It takes forever to get there. Max turned out to be a nice guy with a good sense of humor. He kept the cell clean and respected my things. He was someone who I could actually see myself being friendly with on the outside. These first 3 days had gone great. "So, who's talking shit about me?" I looked up from our card game. "What?" Max was staring at me with newfound intensity. "I can feel someone talking shit about me. Who is it?" "If someone's talking shit about you, I'm not aware of it." "Mm-hmm. Why do you think someone's talking shit?" Because I'm not stupid. I can feel their eyes on me and see them talking when my back is turned. Huh. Well, I haven't noticed anything. Mm-hmm. That followed made it clear. He wasn't sure I could be trusted. This was followed by 2 more great days before another question came out of left field. Who has a problem with me? You think someone has a problem with you? Yep. I waited for more of an explanation that clearly wasn't coming before finally prodding, why? I'm not stupid. Okay. We sat in silence, cards still gripped tight, me wondering how to proceed. If anyone has a problem with you, I'm not aware of it. Mm-hmm. Again, my answer was not to be readily believed. Have you done anything to get on anyone's bad side? I don't really see you interacting with others during our time out. There is not a lot of editing to do here. I think I've already gone through this a couple times. Let's go down. No, that's right. That's right. Cheek or cheek? Definitely cheek. C-H-E-E-K. Cheek. Method. Alright, let's go here. We're going to go rummy game. Okay, so I'm spelling rummy this entire time the wrong way, and none of you, not a single one of you wants to correct me. Gin rummy. R-U-M-M-Y. Holy cow. I've been spelling rummy the wrong way this entire time. Oh my goodness. Rummy, 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 rummy. I can't believe I've been spelling rummy the wrong way. Excuse me. Excuse me. Kurt's doing his thing. Yeah, I'm going to say this is all good. Let's move on. Chapter 9? No. No, we went too far. It should be, we need to get to chapter 7. And that was Gramps. Gramps' story. Okay. Save. Dangers of boredom. Unfortunately, I didn't get paid to listen to people's problems. When you don't get paid, it gets boring. But lately, everything was boring. I stood watching the other detainees go about their day. A long-haired large man made eye contact with me as he slowly pissed his pants. Over the many months, I'd become desensitized to even the funniest of antics. After a while, one crazy guy who should be heavily medicated in a mental hospital, is just like the last. Finding a book to enjoy reading was becoming harder and harder. According to a CO, a urine-soaked towel was thrown in the book box, ruining our books. The new book box was full of novels donated by a community organization. Clearly, the community didn't realize a jail would be full of adult men. Clearly. They should have. They should have realized that it would be full of adult men. But they didn't. Excuse me again. The majority of the box's books were sappy romance novels or children's books. Children's books about lost puppies. A few co-conspirators and I set to slowly destroying and throwing away the books in hopes of them being replaced by literary delights. With terrible books and a mundane existence, my 21 hours in a cell were suffocating. Were suffocating. Maximum security was supposed to keep violent inmates away from the rest of the population or protect inmates in danger, but this institution seemed to use it to punish those charged with specific crimes. After over half a year with 21 hours in a cell and few choices in the way of distractions, you began feeling a twinge insane, with boredom seeping in, aiding the cream walls enclosing in on me. I had to find some new distractions, moving hands or unhurting hands. Unhurting hands, unhurting hands. After over half a year with 21 hours in a cell and few choices in the way of distractions, you began feeling a twinge insane. With boredom seeping in, aiding the cream walls and closing in on me. With boredom seeping in, aiding the cream walls closing in on me, I had to find some new distractions. Moving hands are unhurting hands. Moving hands are unhurting hands. Yes, they are. My throat is not staying dry at all. I gotta fill up my water. I will be right back, guys. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. I am back. I am good. I have my water bottle. My voice is nice and lubricated. We're good to go. Good to go. Hope everybody out there is doing a great job and having a fantastic day, whatever you end up doing. Do it well. Have fun while you do it. You know what I was just thinking about? One of the greatest things you can do if a kid is being really awful, like a terrible kid, teach them a curse word, right? Don't kiss at them. Don't curse at them. That's not good. Just teach them a word. Curse around them. You know, make sure that they can hear it, and then fantasize. Think about like them going home and cursing in front of their parents. I think that would just be so funny. Like, that is the best revenge right there. They don't even know why they got in trouble, but they did. They did get in trouble because they're using the word that you taught them. That's next time a little kid is a dick to me, that's what's gonna happen right there. Once again, I'm totally blanking on how to properly spell schizophrenic. Let's take a look real quick. Schizophrenic. Okay. I'm gonna write down some of the worst words, or some of the words that I have the hardest time spelling, and I'm gonna put them right there on the ceiling, right there. See the little lip? Yeah, I'm gonna put them right there, and that way when I'm asleep or I'm falling down to sleep and I'm laying in bed, I can look up and be like, oh yeah, that's how you spell that word. I think that's the only way I'm gonna learn. I'm convinced that I still don't know how to read. I've just learned enough words. I've memorized enough words that I can get by. Searching through my things for something to do, I stumbled upon the old playing cards, my schizophrenic Selly bent both directions. Schizophrenic Selly bent both directions. They were no good to play with. That's when an idea hit me. I picked up a pen and the cards and began to write. If the Jews have all the money, how do the whites have all the power? Never thought of that, did you? 9 no's and a yes is still a yes. 9 no's and a yes is still a yes. 9 no's and a yes is still a yes. Never rub another man's rhubarb. And always pee after sex. Let's just cut this close, make it look pretty. And always pee after sex. We're just a few golden tidbits. I'm going to leave the tidbits the way it is. Tidbits of advice that went down on the cards. Every card was different. All my time out early in the morning while we were snuggled soundly in their beds. While all were snuggled soundly in their beds. I, Jailhouse Santa, went to work. Everyone woke up to a card or two under their doors. The talk of the cards and the gold nuggets of wisdom on them filled the day. By the second day of card distribution, they'd figured out I was Santa. The cards were enjoyed, laughed at, discussed in detail, and even placed in a few house windows for reading. Unfortunately, and even displayed in a few house windows. Unfortunately, by the third day, I was out of cards and extreme boredom was back on. Maybe now was a good time to experiment with drugs. I knew the guy in house 21. No. I knew the guy in 21 house brought in a bunch of drugs. I said hello, and for a... I can't use bunch again. I said hello, and for a ton of coffee, I got some heroin. I knew the guy in 21 house brought in a bunch of drugs. I said hello, and for a ton of coffee, I got some heroin. He called it brown. Unfortunately, These drugs had been in his ass, a fact that became evident as soon as they were within 3 feet of my nose. No longer able to contemplate doing brown, I decided to go back to snorting good old sleeping meds while getting high and passing out. There's a joke about brown in there somewhere. 3 feet of my nose. I suppose that's why jail folks call heroin brown. No, I'm gonna brown the brown. Brown close to my brown. I'm gonna leave it the way it is for now. I knew a Mexican from Brazil who was known for cheeking his meds. I bought a few of those and enjoyed myself. After a while, I realized how expensive drugs were and how lazy I felt sleeping the day away. I could always go back to drugs if I couldn't find anything better. They are incredibly easy to get in jail. Fuck you, you lying ass bitch. Finally, some entertainment. It was a heroin junkie who didn't find his drugs smelling like ass because they were inside someone's ass. It was a heroin junkie who didn't mind his drugs smelling like ass because they were in someone's ass. I'm going to take that away. Finally, some entertainment. It was a heroin junkie who didn't mind his drugs smelling like ass. He was on the phone having a loud conversation with his girlfriend, who he called wife. He was on the phone having a loud conversation with his girlfriend, who he called wife. I quickly grabbed paper and pencil to record the show. You are a liar. You cheated on me. You stupid, good-for-nothing slut. You're a whore, a whore, a whore. Moments of silence followed every few outbursts. While the entire pod awaited his continually louder responses to his wife's infidelity. You keep lying. You know how much I hate when you lie. Why do you do that to me? Why do you do that to me? You're hurting me, bitch. You're hurting us. You're hurting us. You cunt. Silence. No, because I know you. You sucked his dick. I know you sucked his dick. You fucking stupid bitch. I wonder if you can get domestic violence charges from a phone call. This phone call could definitely qualify as violent. Their calls are all... This phone call could definitely qualify as violent. And all phone calls were recorded. Why don't you just go kill yourself, you stupid fucking cunt? You sucked his dick, bitch, bitch. And with a slam, he hung up the phone before sliding down to the ground and bursting into loud wailing. For a moment, there was only the sound of his sobs before applause and shouts filled the pod. Where? Will she suck my dick too? Does she eat ass? Cry, baby, cry. All followed by spurts of laughter while his tears continued to fall. Tomorrow, the crazy codependent couple Tomorrow, the crazy codependent couple was back together. Tomorrow, the next day, the crazy codependent couple were back together. They'd go back to fighting about her having sexual intercourse with other guys every few days. The pod always enjoyed the entertainment and making fun entertainment, and making fun of the idiot. With the show over, I turned back to my cell. The problem with exciting, crazy, and funny things that happen... The problem with exciting, crazy, or funny things that happened in the pod... With the show over, I turned back to my cell. The problem with exciting, crazy, or funny things that happened in the pod was they were all short-lived. Most probably averaged 10 minutes out of every 24 hours. Most days, I'd say we got 10 minutes of excitement for every 24 hours. Maybe I could up that number. I bet a race war would be fun, not to join but to watch. There weren't enough people out at once to have a good one. But maybe I could pit a black guy against a Mexican. Against a Mexican from Cuba. I knew that the Mexican's ex was named Jenna, and that black guy was super homophobic. He got uncomfortable anytime I called him Big Black Stallion. Big Black Stallion. Come on, you big black stallion. Come on now. Yeah, get some. Get in on it, you big black stallion. Bum, 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 bum. Hang on, I gotta text this before I forget. Judy, Billy's sister. Bum, 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 bum. Hey, I'm trying to get... Un momento, por favor. This is something to consider. We got to think about this. How we're going to talk about Mexicans and Cubans. Or Mexicans from Cuba. And no, I know that that's not real, and that's not how things really go. It's meant to be funny. It's funny. It's funny, it's funny, it's funny. There's dust on my desk. It's bothering me. Okay, much better. There we go. I just cannot deal with dust. It's a big deal, guys. Dust is a big deal. Okay, we're good. All right, let's talk about the Mexican from Cuba. And yes, I know that that's not how this works, but it's funny. It's supposed to be funny. Take it as a joke, please. Please take it as a joke. Appreciate you. Using these pieces of information, I came up with the story that Jenna broke up with him after walking in on a guy pounding Mexican's ass. When asked why, his reply was that he did 6 years in California prison. So, of course, he liked it in the ass. Becoming a true rumor weed, I told my tale near and far. Soon everyone knew the story, including our favorite homophobic black guy. The next day, the COs did a random search of their cell and took Mexican away to the hole for drugs. When Homophobe was asked about it, he said, "I had to get rid of that fag. He kept staring at me and wanting to touch my dick." So my rumor worked, but its results weren't as exciting as I'd hoped. In my cell once more, boredom began to creep. What I needed was to watch a good fight. Fighting in the pod where everyone could enjoy it was rare. But I thought maybe I could start one with the right emotional, unstable subjects. Gaucho, Cowboy, and the Cumbugs. Yeah, that's a funny story. I'm going to have to remember to insert that for sure. Gaucho. Now there was an idea. And he's mad at the house mouses. Leprechaun was a house mouse. Now the wheels were turning. I called my favorite old black man over. "Hey, just so you know, you might want to cover up your video visits better." "What you mean, youngster?" "Well, I'm no snitch, you know." "I know dat." "But Leprechaun was staring kinda hard during your last visit." "That boy looking at my wife?" I gave a little shrug, trying not to smile. "Oh, hell no," and he stormed off, right to our favorite Leprechaun. "What the hell you doing staring at my girl?" Leprechaun looked shocked. "Excuse me?" "You heard me, youngster. You don't glance her way or I'll knock your teeth in. I'll fucking curb stomp your ass till the body stops twitching." Everyone in the pod quietly watched the exchange. "Look, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not staring at anyone." "Good. Keep your eyes to yourself." "Keep your eyes to yourself." Leprechaun gave an exasperated whatever as he walked away. Well, that was disappointing, but I wasn't ready to give up yet. Yet? Yeah, yet just sounds better there. The next day, I called Leprechaun over. He explained his fear of getting an assault charge since Gaucho was such an old man. I gave a shrug. I gave a shrug. Just so stupid him telling everyone. It's just so stupid. It's just so stupid. Come. Him telling everyone how badly you want his wife. I even heard him telling B and Jackson a few minutes ago. That old fucker is still spraying shit about me staring at his wife? Yep, I said, trying not to smile. Okay. And with that, he went to confront Gaucho. "Your old wrinkly ass still talking shit about me? Keep my name out of your fucking mouth." "Who you calling wrinkly, youngster?" You've got more wrinkles than my dad's ball sack." Gaucho had a cleaning bottle in his hand, looking like he was ready to spray it in Leprechaun's face. "Come in my house and let's settle this, youngster." "No, you come in my house. Fuck dat." And just like that, it was over. Both walked away, neither willing to risk getting in major trouble. But that's how 90% of disagreement yelling matches end, with no one willing to actually know the punch that would mean 30 days in the hole without books, commissary, or card games with friends. Leprechaun would also lose his house mouse job. So, considering all those things, I can't hold it against him. I can't hold what happened against him. Okay, so starting arguments over was a short-lived fun. With only 8 people out at a time, my choices and fighters to instigate were limited. My choices and fighters to instigate were limited. There we go. Looking out my window, I saw the COs doing their checks. One of them was a new kid in training. I'd seen him for about a week, and the other COs were having him We're having him call in the checks as of late. Let's put a comma right there. I'd seen him for about a week, comma, and the other COs were having him call in checks as of late. In a sudden stroke of genius, oh my goodness, my water. In a sudden stroke of genius, I ducked down in the corner where he couldn't see me. When he called in the inmate count, he was one off. His face fell as the training deputy told him, "You gotta get the count right, man." Anytime the kid was working, I'd hide. More often than not, the count was wrong and he'd get yelled at. Apparently, no one ever told him to count. That's why we edit, people. Apparently, no one ever told him to count the bunks. After a few weeks, I never saw him again. I started thinking of other ways to mess with the deputies. Meal times were my time to try and have a laugh at a CO's expense. It felt good. It felt euphoric. Now there's a word. I started when giving the trays back after the meal. I'd stand to the right of the door where the COs couldn't see me. My left hand would press the tray against the door. As soon as the deputy unlocked the slit in the door, I'd shove my tray out. Often the deputies, having not seen me, weren't ready for the tray. It made me smile to see them stumble to catch the tray. Once in a blue moon, the tray crashed to the ground, sending little leftover bits of corn, peas, and water flying. Corn, peas, and potato flying. Watching a CO clean up the mess made my day. That is until one day when the tray went spilling out into McGruff's legs. That is until the day when the tray went spilling out onto McGruff's legs. Are you fucking kidding me? I still have no idea how I didn't end up in the hole. Everyone agreed they must be really full. The hole must have been super full for me to stay in the pod. After I switched to kosher meals, my food was delivered in a styrofoam container instead of a plastic tray. Comma. There's the comma we all know and love. Opening up a whole new world of possibilities. Whole new world of possibilities. I started by hiding the plastic spoon where it was hard to see. But I got tired of them asking me where it was. My mind began turning when I saw the COs carrying the stack of 7 special styrofoam meals down the stairs, stacked one on top of the other. And my styrofoam sat second from the top. The next day, comma, I piled all my apple cores leftover bread, trash, anything with weight to the back corner of the styrofoam. To seal the deal, I added a bit of water. My heart soared when I saw my lopsided styrofoam unbalance the stack. Sending the sword when I saw my lopsided styrofoam unbalance the stack. Sending the rest of the sending the piled styrofoam containers crashing down the stairs. Period. Food and spoons went everywhere. It was a beautiful class. It was a beautiful sight. Eventually, the house mouses got tired of cleaning up the crashing messes. So, I eased up on my destruction. I still added water to my container, though. Every so often, a CEO would pick up the container sideways, sending water down their pants. If they asked about it, I replied that the rice was watery. Unfortunately, making a deputy look like they'd peed themselves didn't take up much time. I had to find more distractions. I had to find more distractions. I just got a text message. Who is the author from Outliers? Outliers is a great book, by the way. Malcolm Gladwell. That's him. Malcolm Gladwell. You are welcome. If you ever want to read a book that is all about why people succeed or why some people succeed over others, Outliers is really interesting. The way that some people have opportunities based on their ethnicity and where they live a given time period is really interesting to watch. So, standing at my door, bored people watching, I came to realize watching people wasn't as much fun. Let's change that up. Standing at my door bored, comma, I came to realize watching people wasn't as much fun when it was the same faces week to week, month to month. Same faces every week, turning into the same faces every month. Sure, sometimes one method would be replaced by another, or that mentally handicapped guy would be loosed back on society to have another take his place. Watching one was just like watching another. Every one of them needed to be told not to beg, wait until the CEOs did their walkthrough to ask for things, and for the love of God, take a shower. If everyone followed these 3 rules, they'd have a far better time in Max. Something is going on with my throat today. Maybe it's the mouthwash I'm using. Maybe it's like drying out my mouth, but I'm drinking a lot of water to be able to talk and have a normal conversation with my throat. Maybe it's the water. Maybe I need to coat my throat with some Jello, some hot Jello. You guys ever do that when you're sick and you have a sore throat? Or honey, some honey tea. I don't know how to make honey tea. I assume you just make tea and put honey in it. But most of the time, for me, Author Altman, it's all about the water. But it's just not quite working the way it should. Still at my door, I could hear a conversation next door where Autist was rattling. Autist is a name, so it should be capitalized. Thank you. Still at my door, I could hear a conversation next door. Standing at my window, that way I'm not saying door twice in the same sentence. Standing at my window, I could hear a conversation next door where Autist was rattling off a bunch of numbers. It took me a moment to realize it was his PIN number. He was letting someone use it to listen to music on the tablet as payment for some food. I sprang from my position for paper and pencil. With Autist's PIN number in my hands, I couldn't wait for my timeout. In the privacy of the tablet room, I logged into Autist's account. He'd been talking about how he had naked pictures on his images that somehow got there. That was a lie. The only images I saw were of his family. His mom was hot. Genetics say he shouldn't have been as ugly as he was. Next, I opened up his messages. In there, I found begging, groveling, and crying to his mom about his fear of prison. I found Autist begging, groveling, and crying to his mom about his fear of prison. The best one was, "This can't be happening to me. I can hardly survive in jail. Everyone is so big and mean to me. You have no idea what it's like. If I go to prison, I'm going to be raped and die. I'm not exaggerating. I'll literally be raped and killed. You gotta talk to the lawyers again. I'm in literal tears out of desperation. There has to be an amount we can pay to get out of this. What about a second mortgage? I'm only 19. I wasn't made for this. I want to go home. Mom, please, Mom. Find a way to get me home. I don't want to die. I don't want to have sex with a man. Please, Mom, save me." I reread it. It was honest to God scared. He was honest to God scared for his life and feared for his anal virginity. Or he was emotionally manipulating his mom in a terrible way. We're all big and mean? No, he was an annoying little guy with a bad habit of not paying his debts until he was screamed at. After a moment's deliberation, I knew what I had to do. I copied down his emotional turmoil word for word and began sharing it with the masses. Soon, everyone was crying in Autist's face or shouting, "Mommy, Mommy! Don't let the mean men anally rape me. I won't survive, Mommy. Sell your house." Or, "Free me, Mommy. My virginity is at stake." All of which were a great source of laughter for everyone, besides Autist. And more water. Rumors and jokes and others' expenses were fine, but they hardly made up for the loss of one of my biggest pastimes, masturbation. Making love to myself just didn't hold the same appeal as it used to. It's like the blonde beauty in my head was getting tired of me, or maybe I of her. In either case, I'd exhausted my current mental memories of lived eroticism. What I needed was to spice things up. What I needed was porn. First thing I did was go ask my man Jackson, "Why don't you go pay 11 House to make you something?" First thing I did in my search for porn was ask my man Jackson where to go. Why don't you go pay 11 House to make you something? Make me something? Sure. He's a tattoo artist on the outside. He's good. Bag of chips or a candy bar and he'll draw you all kinds of naked women. He did a Harley Quinn pinup that was really good. I took a gander at his work. It was really good. Impressive beyond jailhouse measure. I could see why people bought his work. I could see why people bought his stuff. Bought his drawings. But I couldn't do it. Making love while staring at a black and white or cartoony drawing felt wrong. No way I could be that kinky. What I needed was to make love. What I needed was to make love myself, comma, the way God intended, to the image of a real woman. What I needed was to make love myself. What I needed to make love to myself, the way God intended, was an image of a real woman. There we go. Much stronger sentence, people. And lo, like manna falling from heaven, God provided in the form of safe for prison magazines. Magazines that leave enough to the imagination in the form of little black boxes, barely covering up the goods. Luckily, the black squares left little for me to imagine. Unluckily, most of the women were not my cup of tea. The girls were either small little things with no body, or their tits and lips were huge, screaming plastic. Unmoving and unfeeling didn't do it for me. Unfortunately, after much arduous searching, I found Trixie Dixie. She was exactly what I was looking for. A short, blonde, cute face. Decent ass, and tits to fit in your hands. Excuse me. There was also an odd abundance of black women. CEOs have to leave the magazines alone, but if they find any pages torn out, they throw them away. So buying a page for $1 didn't make sense to me, and I wasn't about to buy the entire magazine for $20. So instead I let my one love-making night with Trixie Dixie's image just be one of those wonderful memories to look back on and enjoy for years to come. Or at least I enjoyed it for the next few weeks. I thought about having my own safe for prison porn magazine brought in. Selling the pages for $1 a piece is a nice little moneymaker, and after the CEOs throw the pages away, the pod's population needs to buy more. But asking a friend or family member to buy me a dirty mag was a low I wasn't ready to stoop to. Making love to one's self is a deeply personal matter. You guys like how I'm talking about masturbation like that? Like, if masturbation is crude, it's a terrible way to say it. Making love to yourself, that's how you say it. I did not masturbate. I made love to myself. I made love to myself. Toes, 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 toes. I could hear Gramps stirring below me. He'd fallen asleep while reading the paper. Are you just saying toes over and over again? I felt a flush of embarrassment. I wasn't supposed to have heard that. He wasn't supposed to have heard that. Well, yeah, kinda. Why? See, I just finished this Dean Koontz book. In it, there's a little boy who counts his toes before he even knows numbers. Okay. So, yeah, that's what I was doing. It was a really kind of funny, cute part in the book. That's what I was doing. It was a really. It was a. It was a kind of funny, cute part in the book. Okay, and with that, Gramps lifted the newspaper up once again. I looked down at the old man to make sure the newspaper had his attention before slowly turning my eyes back to my feet. Under my breath, I quietly whispered to myself, toes, 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 toes. Without a book to read and no more toes to count, the never-ending fluorescent lights started to get to me, but not as bad as it used to. Clearly, I'd become maximum hard. That got me to think about what I could do, since I was looking for new things to do anyway, to let people know how hard I was after I tasted sweet freedom again. Clearly, I needed to get an epic jail tat. An epic jail tattoo. First thing I needed was a needle. Making one was easy enough, but took a lot of work. First, I took a paperclip out of some legal paperwork I had. You can also get paperclips from paper pads you buy off commissary, or from address books you get for free from the chaplain. Getting the paperclips sharp took hours of scraping against the metal edge under the desk and the concrete floor. The hours I spent sharpening the metal were hours I had something to do, so I didn't complain. Making the ink was a bit more complicated. What you would typically do is roll up toilet paper tight and put it in the middle of some pomade gel. Let's change roll up to twist. What you would typically do is twist up toilet paper tight and put it in the middle of some pomade gel. You now have a homemade, or rather jail-made, candle. You can light the wick by blowing a fuse or a battery. You can light the wick, the toilet paper, by blowing a fuse or a battery. After the candle is lit, you can put a paper bag over the candle to collect the soot. Add just a few dabs of water to the soot and you've got yourself a decent jailhouse tattoo ink. Jailhouse tattoo ink. Unfortunately, my facility was in the Stone Age. With no batteries or fuses available, we had no way to make fire. Others recommended using ink out of the pen, crushing up a colored pencil to a fine point, or even using pencil lead. The problem with every one of these methods is after a couple years, the ink fades from the skin fast. But that wasn't going to deter me. No sirree. It was time for my jail tat. What did deter me was the pain of sticking and poking. With only a semi-sharp needle. With no way to make a tattoo gun, I was left in the incapable hands of a man slowly lifting up the needle and bringing it down manually. It wasn't that I couldn't handle the pain, it's that a dull needle slowly being pushed too far or not far enough into your skin really, really hurts. Add getting jail tattoo story. I have a lot of places now where I need to add things. Let me tell you, editing, it feels really good when you're done with your work to be working on editing. It's like it's a moment of triumph, like I have done this, right? I have done this thing. and it feels good. It feels great. But there's something that just you kind of miss. Writing is fun, and you kind of miss that writing part. Yeah. So I'm going to go drink more water, and it is getting close to 5 o'clock, so I will probably get something to eat as well. It has been so much fun hanging out with you all. Please have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'm going to just leave a couple slides going. Have a great time. And I hope you like the music. Do you guys like the music? The nice little acoustic loop I got going for these slides. Let's see, what slides do we have? Only $5 for tragedy and comedy short stories. That's my Patreon. On Patreon for short stories and podcast. And then, of course, I have to share my social media. Today was a good day of writing. Got a lot done. Editing. Editing is one of those things that you do and you just realize, oh, it's working. Making my story better. It's not the most fun thing to do, coming up with the story and being creative. That is really fun. But when you work at it and you make words better, and then you reread it, just feels good.